quote is, "You'll never be as big as the first day that you walked in the gym." Body dysmorphia isn't just, "Oh, look how much size I've gained and like I still feel skinny." People that are really into the gym, you're never really going to be satisfied. Like you're going to be lifting and I could gain 50 pounds of muscle, but I'm still going to look in the mirror and think I don't look good enough.
Body dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia.
It's real.
My name is RJ Parker. I've been going to the gym for almost 5 years. It has transformed my life. And by no means am I the biggest guy, nowhere near it. But I definitely have gone through spurts of body dysmorphia. It is a real thing. When I was about 6, I went to watch my mom playing some league tennis. I thought it was a really cool sport, and so I picked up a racket. I fell in love pretty quickly with it. From there, I played from the age of really seriously, probably 10, all the way through until I was 18 years old. I traveled all over the country, playing tournaments every weekend. We would wake up 7 a.m., eat breakfast, get on the court by 8, and we would be on the court from 8 until the sunset, like all day long. Never have a balance. Your balance is tennis. I experienced great success. I was, top 50 in the country for juniors, and I had a world ranking and was doing really well. So I was going to potentially go pro in that sport, and I've eventually decided not to, just based on I wanted a family and other things were more important.
All right, so this is clay. It's literally like sand. It's like a gray dirt. And so I'll slide on it and I'll show you what it looks like.
When I was doing that, I realized my whole life that in some part of me knew, like I was self-conscious, like about how skinny I was, but because of the sport I played, I was really successful. So no one ever said anything because I was doing really well. So it wasn't a big deal at all. But once I'd stopped, I saw pictures of myself or videos, and I'm like, yeah, like I am so skinny. Being 6'3", like 135, like it's really, really skinny. People say all the time, like, hey, like you just need to eat. Like go eat. Like what have you eaten? Have you eaten in the last week? Like those comments, like they don't really affect you, but in the back of your mind they do. So at that point, just fell in love with the gym and fitness and seeing that I could transform my body into whatever I wanted. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really watch YouTube videos either, but I knew, hey, calories in, calories out. Like if I eat food and work out, I'm gonna gain weight. I'm gonna gain muscle too. So I decided to go full dirty bulk. Dirty bulk is basically, it's exactly how it sounds. It's eat as much food as you possibly can, no matter what the food is, and you're gonna gain weight, right? Fat and muscle. During that time, I ate everything. Like I would eat till I wanted to throw up. Every meal, I would force feed myself. Like literally force feed myself, everything. Like I drank mass gainers like twice a day. So like 3,000 calories was just shake. Dirty bulk for me was like cake, brownies, cookies, anything. And that's not a healthy way to do it. But for me, any weight was good weight. Weight does equal strength in a way. I did gain a lot of strength in the gym by doing that, which gives me confidence. So how did I feel during it? Dude, I loved it. Like sometimes what isn't great is wanting to throw up after every meal, like always feeling bloated and having a gust. So for that year, 3-4 months, I went from like 155, probably around that area, pounds to 204 pounds. So I gained about 50 pounds. I feel like I look good and I'm not small, right? I'm a good size, but in a gym, like I feel very average in a gym. I don't feel like I look that good. I don't feel like I'm that big. Strength-wise, I feel like I'm pretty good. So when we were doing like the videos, right, you see me taking my hoodie off where we had been working out for a long time, so I look fine, right? But before we took off the hoodie, I always try to like do push-ups or like get weights and like lift them as much as I can so blood flow would go to my muscles and you get a pump. A pump, for those of you like who don't know, that a pump is basically when your muscles have a ton of blood flow to them, and it basically inhibits this feeling of like your muscles are like really hard, like to the touch, like right how they're like soft. But when you have a pump, you can't like straighten your arms because there's so much blood flow going to that one muscle. And when that happens, usually like if it's in your arm, you gain like an inch, maybe 2 inches in size in your arm. So you look way bigger than you actually are because there's so much blood flow and like it kind of bloats that one muscle. And so the pump, you always chase the pump. And it's funny because in the gym, when you get a pump, you love how it looks, but you want to look all the time like you do when you have a pump. So you're always chasing what you look like when you have a pump. But guess what? If you achieve what you look like when you have a pump, guess what? Your new pump is even bigger. So then you want to achieve that one and you'll never stop. But even in the gym, I keep on my stuff until I have a pump because I don't want to look at first at myself unless I look the best that I can look. Like the whole rest of your day is different. Like you don't feel like you look as good. You have less confidence. I think it's hugely in part to what they see on social media. You constantly see people that are shredded to the bone and like 200 pounds plus, they look amazing. You're gonna feel terrible about yourself. So they think they have to go to extreme measures to get that. Social media influencers are people that like have achieved really good physiques. People chase like 8-packs and veins everywhere and they want to be really lean. They portray this like, I look like this all the time, but these guys are like sub 10, like 8% body fat, which is like close to like bodybuilding stage lean, which your hormones, if you're under sub 10, like body fat, like your hormones are all over the place. Like you are angry, your sex drive is all over the place. You have no energy because your natural testosterone is under the floor. And so people are chasing what they see online because they think, oh, like it's achievable. To a lot of kids, they look at these influencers that say they're natural and they're like, hey, like, look, I can achieve that. Like, that's awesome. I don't have to go on steroids. Then they see these guys jump on and they're like, oh, I guess like they needed it and then I'm going to. Well, it's hard not to want to look at like enhancing drugs because you know it's going to make you look that much better, right? So that's the thing. Everyone goes through it. Every gym bro that steps in a gym at one point or another is going to consider it for sure. And that's a scary thing because if you're not careful, it can be a really addicted thing for people that do decide to jump on steroids. It can legitimately end like in death, right? If you abuse those things and you're trying to look really big and you are young, like you're a teenager, like no, dude, like it's a bad thing. Because that's where body dysmorphia will really come in, because if someone's obsessed with looking like someone else, they're not going to. Like if your goal was like Zac Efron Baywatch, can everyone look like that? No. Like very few people could ever achieve that. How did he do it? Supplements, the best coaches in the world. He didn't eat carbs for like 4 months. He barely drank any water. And he's talked about it. He's like, I will never do that again. Like, you're miserable. So you can't look at somebody and think, I'm going to look like that. It's like, no, you're probably not. But you can look the absolute best that you can look. Everyone's going to look different. Everyone has different muscle insertions. Everyone is going to be able to achieve differences. Comparison is the thief of joy. You need to understand where you're at and say, oh, look at what I've done, right? Because if I do that, then if I'm only comparing myself to who I was and how I look like a different person. Like I should be so happy and proud of what I've been able to do. I mean, everyone is going to have a different why, and you need one in any aspect of your life. If you don't know why you're doing something, you're really not going to do it. You're going to give up. with that, I want my future daughter's boyfriends to be absolutely terrified of me. And that's an actual motivating factor for me. It has helped me become a better dad, a better husband, provider in every way. The gym is, I think, formed me into who I am now. It made me feel confidence. It made me feel better about myself, how I looked, how I felt, how I acted, that I knew I needed to go every day. For my family, I'd be better. I'd be more alert. I'd feel more confidence for them, and I'd be able to protect them more, or be more of a man, right? The more specific wise is it's all in me. My wife could care less how I look. She loved me the same when I was 135 pounds. The thing from here on out is because of passion. It shouldn't be like, I need to get bigger. It should be, I love going to the gym. It's a huge process. And you got to stay dialed doing it too. So you got to be aware. It's all about the journey. Like when you achieve it, it's great. You feel good. Like you're bigger, you're stronger. Like it's awesome. But the journey is what meant everything. The journey is what made you disciplined. It helped you with consistency. It gave you confidence. It's the journey, because that's what was hard. That's what most people aren't willing to do.